Now, 153,000 results is still too many, but that's okay because we can actually begin to use some of what's here to help us find even better results that are more narrowly applied to our particular topic, which is youth ministry in this case. So a good technique at this point then is to begin to start scrolling through some of the results here until I find one that looks like it might be something I might be interested in regards to my paper and the way that I might want to go with that direction-wise. So let's say, for instance, I am interested in something to do with the history of youth ministry, or there's a youth or a history component to my youth ministry paper or something like that. And let's say that the second result really catches my eye and I'm like, oh, that's something that might be useful to me. I want to check out this article. I can actually use this result to help me find other results that are going to be more narrowly applied to youth ministry than just what we were able to pull up here with the 153,000. So in clicking on the title, you'll see that it's hyperlinked there. That brings me to the detailed record page. And on the detailed record page, it has everything that you would expect to find there. So, you know, the author of the article, the source, what issue it was in, page numbers, so on and so forth. But what I'm particularly interested in on this page is this section here for the subjects. So these are the subjects under which this article is classified. In fact, these are the official Library of Congress subject headings under which this article is classified. And as you're looking through those, so we have church work with youth, Lutheran churches in the United States, youth conduct of life, social action in church, adolescent psychology, evangelistic work, theory. You'll notice that there's something that sticks out in regards to these subject headings, and that is that not a single one of them says youth ministry. And the reason why that is the case is because the Library of Congress does not categorize anything dealing with youth ministry as youth ministry. Instead, the main subject heading is the one that's bolded there at the very beginning, church work with youth. So everything that is classified by the Library of Congress as youth ministry is actually going to be found under the subject heading church work with youth rather than, say, youth ministry like we would think of it. Now that could pose a particular problem for me if I'm doing a youth ministry paper, or maybe my dissertation is on youth ministry or something like that, because if I go through my whole program not knowing that the subject heading under which everything that I needed was church work with youth, and I spent all of my time doing keyword searches for, quote, youth ministry, then there's a good chance that I'm overlooking a lot of sources that I otherwise would have found by knowing the correct subject heading under which the sources of my particular topic would be found. And it's not as though anyone has the Library of Congress subject headings memorized. Even librarians in the Library of Congress don't have all of them memorized because there's so many. So it's not like, you know, this is something that you would expect someone to know just off the top of their head. Oh, I should have been searching for church work with youth. But that's the point. Whenever you find something that might be particularly relevant, it helps to go to the detailed record page to see the way that it's classified under the subject headings, so that you can then use those subject headings to find other sources that are going to be under that same subject heading. So that's exactly what we're going to do right here. You'll notice that each one of these is hyperlinked. So when I click on church work with youth, that's going to produce a brand new search for me under the subject heading church work with youth. And now I'm going to apply the same limiters to it that I did previously. So I'm going to go down here and change it to academic journals. That are peer-reviewed. We'll do roughly the last decade once again. If you're wondering, the reason that changed from 2020 to 2019 is because prepubs also show up in databases like this, and that's basically the journal letting the database providers know what's coming down the pipeline with issues of journals that aren't out yet, so they can go ahead and begin indexing those and creating the records and those kinds of things. So we're dropping it back to 2009 to 2019 because that was the latest date range that it has here in this instance. All right. So just through a manner of a few quick things, we've gone from a keyword search for youth ministry that produced 2.1 million results now to a search that has produced 816 results. So 816, much more manageable than 2.1 million. And if we're kind of backtracking through the process that we used, we can ask ourselves, well, what do I know about each one of these results? Well, I know that it's correctly classified under the right subject heading. I know that it's an academic journal article from a peer-reviewed journal that was published within roughly about the past 10 years. So great way to kind of narrow down almost, not instantly, but through a few short sequences there, narrow down to very specific information, very specific articles that are going to be related to my topic, and not having to take the inordinate amounts of time it would take to try to wade through 2.1 million results from just a keyword search.